Greetings, and welcome to the Thirsty Mage, the virtual pub where friends get together to talk about the best RPGs ever made. I'm your host, David Lloyd, the guy who's patiently waiting for Falcom to release the sequel to the topic of this episode. And yes, that is the remake of one of the greatest RPGs ever made, Trails in the Sky First Chapter. We had an episode a little while ago on Trails where we were kind of doing our initial impressions. I think we were only enrollant at that point when we had that episode, but now we're finished. I'm finished the game. Casey's almost finished the game, so it'll be we won't spoil the ending because I've done that to Casey too many times before, and I promised I wouldn't do it to him again.
Worst Spoilercast ever.
Yeah. There's been a few times where I've texted this something stupid and put my foot in my mouth, but that is my fellow prospective bracer, Casey Gibson.
Yes. Yeah. I've dabbled in a few other Trails games, mainly because I know you're such a big stan. But yeah, this one has stuck. I think I'm at like 38 or 39 hours or something like that. So put a good chunk in, and whoo-wee, I'm excited to. I've been ramping up this week. Essentially, the last 3 nights I've put in a combined 6 hours, which is a big flex for me these days. And yeah, I'm sure we're gonna get all into it, but definitely a great game.
Yeah, we're. I know you're in the from where you told me you are. You're not too far off, only a few hours left. But we're just gonna kind of go through the different regions, I guess, kind of chronologically, to go through the game and just talk about some of the fun characters and some of the fun moments that we went through, and I'll be able to touch a little bit on the differences between the original and that, but we thought, how are we going to get through the year without doing at least mostly Spoilercast for such an amazing game?
David's just always looking for an excuse to be talking about some good old-fashioned Trails.
I never need an excuse to talk about Trails, but I'll always take one, that's for sure. But before we get into it, I just want to promote the newsletter we have, or the RPG magazine that we've been doing. So we got 2 in the book so far. If you head over to thethirstymage.com, you will see at least 2 issues. Trails in the Sky. There is a review for Trails in the Sky in issue number 2, as that was the focus of that one. But we have issue number 3. It might be out by the time this hits the public feed, hits the air. So. You'll see a Christmas themed RPG magazine, issue number 3 at some point if it's not already there. So just make sure to head on over to thethirstymage.com and you'll see it front and center. So yeah, we're having a good time now. Casey and I are mostly doing the audio podcast these days, but we've got Jordan and Paige chipping in when they can, but they're definitely with us putting together the magazine. So head on over there.
I think that's my favorite part, is that we all contribute. And yeah, like you said, with the scheduling and how everything works out now with the audio recordings, it's still good to have the whole team represented.
Yep, exactly. But we are talking about Trails in the Sky, the first chapter. So the remake, it's getting some good buzz, I think. There was just an article today about, I guess, the Steam demo really drove some numbers. I guess Falcom had announced that the Steam demo, I guess a lot of people downloaded it, and they saw a lot of people picking up the game based on those demos. So
heck yeah.
Developers should be taking notice. Make sure you get those demos out there. It'll get sales. And I mean, it was incredibly generous, that demo too. I think it was like the entire first chapter. I believe. I think you can get through all of Roland,
technically, right? Yeah. Well, I guess it was still technically first chapter, but yeah, no, I think I put 6 hours into 6 or 7 hours into the demo. I'm playing on the Switch. I knew I was gonna purchase it, so it was an easy, sort of experience. And then with the Switch 2 update, very nice.
Yeah. So the developers take notice. Make sure your demo is available, and that the progress transfers over to the new game, the real game. I think that's the two biggest things I think that will help to drive sales. But yeah, this so we've got the Trails in the Sky remake. This is a remake of the first chapter or the first game, I guess, that the original PSP game. I know I've actually had a few people ask me lately. Now that the remake is out and it seems to be people enjoying it, if there's any reason to play the PSP game anymore, the OG, and I guess my reaction would be basically like you don't. I wouldn't say it necessarily. I would say this is the definitive way to play it now. The first chapter, I would say for the majority of folks, if you play this new remake game, uh, you probably don't need to play the PSP game unless it's for a very specific reason, like
Unless
having
you
played
really love
through.
it.
Yeah, I guess like unless you're really into that kind of pixel graphics, that's on that PSP or that different, like it is a different style of gameplay. I mean, it's pretty like the battle systems are pretty close, but there are some differences. And the one biggest omission, I guess, is just some of the writing is left out in the sense of like the treasure chests in the PSP game all have like these fun messages. There's a lot of humor in it, and but yeah, the remake, there's no. I don't know why. It's funny, like why they left those out. I guess because they weren't in the Japanese version of the game is
Hmm.
maybe why they didn't bother. But and I know that some of the dialogue was updated for a modern audience, which I would say is a bonus because there's a few dated references in the original game, especially in relation to like Olivier and stuff. So yeah, I just think
Like
this.
insensitive kind of stuff, I'm assuming.
Yeah, like there was. I know there was a joke about in the remake that when Joshua and Estelle first meet Olivier, he kind of flirts with Joshua, and Estelle makes a comment about like it was a very like LGBT positive, like you kind of like uh you know swing wherever way you want sort of thing. It was a much more positive response than I think the
Spin on it.
original one, where I think it was kind of more of a revulsion of like,
Yeah.
yeah, like you're gross
Ew.
sort of.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, to
Because
me too, it's more, it's actually better because like that's like one of the like the good things about Olivier is like kind of that lighthearted, like he's just his own guy. So it's
well,
like,
it's funny because I didn't necessarily think that he's like a gay guy necessarily. You know what I mean? Like to me, it's like, oh, he's just like a flirtatious person with everyone. You know?
oh yeah, like I just think he's like everything's on the table for him. He's down to party no matter what's
Yeah.
going on.
He's just looking to have a good time.
Yeah, like he said, he just loves beautiful things. It doesn't matter what they are.
Yeah. Well, we do find out that Joshua is pretty beautiful later on in the game as well.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's a fun game. It's funny, like because there's a lot of like obviously with the remake we get a lot of cutscenes that did not exist in the original game. Like it's in the original game, you just had your little chibi uh, sprites doing all the heavy lifting. So to see like these full cinematic scenes is pretty funny. Especially, yeah, like there's a scene later in the game when they're doing a play, and it's funny to see it all being acted out and stuff. So
Yeah, I was gonna say that must be such a different, and I'm assuming welcomed change to sort of see it, yeah, more fleshed out instead of like, yeah, sort of your standard old PSP style
yeah,
storytelling in visual cutscenes.
yeah. So now that you're kind of wrapping up your gameplay, Casey, what's your viewpoint of the first chapter? How's it feeling for you?
So it's interesting coming into it, right? Like, obviously, my expectations are pretty high, given that this is like one of your all-time favorite games. And obviously, I've known that for a while now. But not. It's just like one of those, like, man, okay, like this is a top tier game, so going into it, or getting into it, it's definitely like a slow paced style game, and mainly from the storytelling. Like, I don't think necessarily the gameplay itself is slow paced, but just like right, you start off, it's like, hey, we're doing this bracer thing, which is like just doing small sort of quests throughout the village and the cities, and it could be as sort of meaningless as like, oh, do just go help this person, they got stuck here, or it could be clearing out monsters. So it's cool because you do interact with the different people throughout the cities. And I'm not one to read it. I'm not talking to every single person in every single town, and I know the dialogue changes, and that's like a big perk here. But you do see people sort of travel along, from different towns. So if you do end up talking to people, right, like you sort of get to learn what their story is,
Hmm.
Um, so it's definitely got a lot for you, in that sort of story aspect. But it is sort of like a slow burn to the sort of overarching issue at hand, right? Like, they give you some breadcrumbs, um, but I think that's good in the sense that, first off, the writing's really good, so you do want to go do those extra quests and sort of like learn about people and learn about like how things work in specific towns, and the relationships between the people, because as the game goes, like, you're rewarded, now that I'm towards the end of the game, by seeing the characters that you run into early in the game. Now you're seeing them at the end, and sort of seeing their reaction to how now the grander story is sort of um, exposing itself, if you will.
Yeah.
So it is like really great writing. So it's one of those things, like, trying to explain it to people, like, well, it's not like, what makes this game great? Well, like, I mean, the gameplay is really fun. Like, don't get me wrong, but like in a story aspect, right? It's sort of like, well, nothing really huge is happening. Like, it's not like, oh crud, like a neighboring um empire just invaded their army and destroyed things, and like now you're reeling and trying to figure out what happened there. It's a much slower paced story, which I think, like I said, just helps build the world, and sort of gives me like, oh man, it feels like the second chapter is probably gonna like sort of hit the ground running, and like we'll get that bigger payoff in the grand scheme of things. And again, that will probably only feel even better, again, like going through the learning of the characters in the world, and how they do the building early on in the game.
Hmm. Yeah, I would say like the biggest thing about the Trail series is just the character growth. Like, in this game, the main protagonists like Joshua and Estelle they're like basically 16-year-old kids who are starting their careers, basically. Like their dad, or Estelle's dad, was a bracer is a bracer himself, and she's like, wanting to follow in his footsteps. So they're starting off very small. They're in this like country little country town in the like middle of nowhere sort of thing, and it's basically they're just starting from nothing. Like they're like,
Kids from the
they
sticks. It's like
yeah.
David.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, they're just learning the craft, like they're brand new, and their dad has to leave, and so they're left with taking care of Roland, like the little town. So you're just kind of going around, taking care of these like little tasks. Like they're it starts off with like they go to a farm to scare off some monsters that are stealing crops. Like the stakes couldn't be much lower, really. Like,
Yeah.
and
They were
then
tough little buggers, though. Little bunnies,
yeah,
right? I think.
well, that battle was actually kind of tough because there were so many of them, and they would heal themselves quick. So it was one of the tougher battles early on, is like killing those rabbit type monsters. and then yeah, it's just like every time you go to a new town or new city or starting a new quest, the stakes are just a little bit higher and a little bit higher, and you're just progressing up, and it's such a wonderful coming of age tale where you're seeing, like, from seeing them at the beginning and seeing them at the end, and you could just like see the growth in the characters and the people around them. It's just yeah, that to me is it's like watching like a coming of age movie sort of thing. Like you're there for to kind of watch the heroes grow and mature, and that's just what's great about the Trail series.
Yeah, and I think what's cool, again, right? So I think at one point it's like, oh, we need to get to this city, right? But they elect to travel by foot because it is sort of like, hey, this is our country. Let's, you know, by foot, if you fly over it, sure, you can see what's going on, but you're not going to be able to talk to the people, right? You're not going to, you know, interact with the everyday of goings on, and just even right, I guess in the grand scheme of thing, the bracers knowledge is power in a lot of regards. So like knowing where things are and the world and everything is of a good benefit. But what's really cool is now, again, I'm at towards the end of the game, and essentially there's a tournament, um, and the winner would get to join in at the banquet with, like the well, not the queen, and I guess we'll see how much we'll go into specific story stuff, but the duke who is acting as the ruler, and all these other mayors of the other cities that you visited. So it's sort of funny where you're with a character who you sort of meet him a little bit, but like this is really the first time you're with him a lot. Zin, who is really a great character. And he's just sort of like, wow, like, a lot of real important people, because it's like, oh yeah, we
Yeah.
know pretty much everyone at the table,
Yeah.
and this is a meeting of the minds of the of liberal. So which is the country. So it is sort of interesting, and it's like, oh yeah, like, well, yeah, we helped out Mayor Maybell, and we helped out these people, and it's like, oh yeah, like they all are mayors, they all are like leaders of this country, and you're more or less friendly, if not friends, with a lot of them. So it's cool how it is just sort of like when you get to that big picture moment, like, oh wow, like you said, sort of like, oh, I remember you start out in a small town doing, like you said, meaningless tasks, more or less, like very low risks, to the point now where you're, privy to knowledge, and even, I guess, like at parts of the game, you're talking to people who should know what's going on, and you actually know more because
Yeah.
because we've done the research and we've talked to the people and investigated. So it is, like I said, it ramps up really nicely. And again, I've got a couple hours, so I'm sure it's going to keep on ramping up. But like I
Mm.
said, that to me, what gets me really excited is for the second chapter, and how it's all going to play out, right? Um, and I was talking to you even last night, right? Like, again, right, spoiler cast, so I could say it. Colonel Richard, right, who turns out to be pulling some strings and a coup, if you will, I guess, essentially of what's going on in the kingdom. So you sit down with him, and he's worked with your father, with Cassius, and it's one of those, like, yeah, like he's not like a purely evil guy. He's not Kefka, right? Like it's not like a guy who's going to go out there and like, I'm going to slaughter families and kill babies for the fun of it. It he is doing what he feels he needs to do for the country, and whether that be right or wrong, right? Like it's obviously, it seems like it's wrong, but like his motivation isn't like pure evil, which to me it's really cool, right? And I think that just is more like another notch for the writing of this game, and sort of how the story has been presented and laid out for us.
Yeah, well, that's another great thing with Trails is like the villains are never like the majority of the villains are not like, oh, this guy's just an evil jerk. It's like you said, like Colonel Richard is. the main villain of the game, but his motivation is to protect liberal. Like that's like his actions are just to ensure that the country is safe. Um, Now it might be like
Team
at
Richard, woo!
yeah, yeah. It might be at the expense of some, where it's one of those like, does the end justify the means sort of issues. And but that's the thing, is like, even Richard can see who, like, he knows who the people are that are kind of in the way. And I don't like, he doesn't even really necessarily want to dispose of, like, he can see what Estelle and Joshua are doing throughout the game. And they're kind of thwarting his every attempt to be get what he's trying to do at the end of the game, which is basically like, the protection of liberal through a certain means or whatever.
Yeah, like,
And
I mean, he wants to go more military power, right?
yeah,
Because from what I gather, liberal is definitely the underdog. Well, I guess you learned that, right, from Cassius, right? They were
yeah,
getting spanked in the 100-Day War, um, by the Erebonian Empire, which is to the north, and yeah, Cassius's brilliant strategy worked, but I think the Colonel Richard worked right underneath Cassius. So like,
yeah,
seeing that firsthand, it was, his mindset is from a, like, we were uh, a blow of the wind away from falling as an empire. Like, I don't ever want that to happen again.
yeah,
So again, like, I think his motivation is from a place of good, but like you said, he's just he does it in ways that are questionable at best, and yeah,
yeah,
downright immoral. but
yeah,
his like, the end is a just one, right? But like, he's just going about it unjustly.
yeah. But it's just great that from when the Joshua and Estelle decide to leave Roland, and they start going to the next city, which I believe is Bose.
Yep.
And they just start to see like this kind of they just see, like I said, they're walking through liberal. They're kind of seeing how things go. They're talking to people along the way, and they can kind of see what's that something's kind of going on in the background. Like, they're kind of feeling out that there's something not quite right with certain, they're running into certain people and certain things happening. And it's funny to see like how they're like, well, this isn't right, we gotta do something, sort of thing. As a bracers, they feel that responsibility to protect the country and ensure that things are being done properly. Like, yes, we're all kind of on the same path of trying to protect the country, but they have a different way of doing it. Like, they want to work together, whereas, like you said, Richard is looking for more of that, like, military power of ensuring that liberal will stay in around. But yeah, and it's just funny to see, like you said, each time they're going to this new city, like in Bose, they meet up with Mayor Maribel, and kind of see, like, she's I guess, like, her parents were previously the mayors, and she's kind of taking on that role now that I think they had passed away, was the story there. And so now she's running the city, but it's a very industrious city. Like, they got a big market in the middle of the city. And like, so she's kind of a small character in the big scheme of like a 40 to 50 hour game. But you learn so much about this character. Like, you learn the mayor's backstory, and you see like how she interacts with Joshua and Estelle. And they're strangers at the beginning of like chapter 2, I guess it would be, that you're in boats doing all these uh tasks of helping people around. And then by the time the chapters at the end, like, they're best friends, sort of thing. Like, yeah, it's just like to see all these relationships building and growing. I don't know, like, everything, I guess, for me too, a lot of it's just like that positive vibe of
Hmm.
there's things going on, and they're trying to stop bad things from happening, but everything seems positive, like coming from a positive place.
Yeah, and I think also just like the nature of a bracer being there to help, and honestly just the points to rank up and the journal and like all of it I feel like is very, oh, like sure we're going down a little bit of a checklist here, but like to see the progression not only from a writing and like interpersonal connections with the characters, but like to see their profession, like you said, their career. Like you start as the junior bracer, and you rank up and you get rewards, and like generally I'm not a, oh man, I need to bang out every side quest of this game kind of guy, but in this one it made me want to, first off because it is nice. It's not like you go to a new city and there's like, oh, here's 35 side quests,
Yeah,
go do them, you know what I mean, and like half of them are just sort of going here and running back. Like there are a handful, and some cities have more than others, but I feel like they all contribute no matter how small. Story wise, it's like I said, they give you a good bit, and then just getting those rewards and trying to get to that, I don't want to be a junior bracer anymore. I want to work my
yeah,
way up. So I feel like the game rewards you pretty well with that, and then also even just and I believe it's new to the remake here, is the rewards tab itself, right? Like you get rewards for doing just about everything, right? Like you'll get rewards for like, oh, you unlocked all of the orbital slots, like, oh, you get a little something. Oh, you killed X amount of enemies, you get a little something. And again, it's just
those points were in the original one. I just don't remember
like
if we got
rewards
rewards for
for
them
it.
or not. Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. Well, either way, like the rewards feel real nice how that works out, and then I mean, like you were saying too, just the characters, like all of the playable characters are so good, right? So
yeah,
obviously the entire game revolves around Estelle and Joshua, um, and then you sort of get the rotating cast, and right. So we've got Charizard, who is she starts out with you and Roland. I guess is she like Cassius's student, or she was, I guess, at
yeah.
one point
Yeah, like his protege, like Cassius was the teacher,
mentor,
like
maybe. Yeah,
the mentor to Charizard. Yeah,
yeah. So and then Olivier, which we talked about before. You got Agate, who I guess out of the other, like out of all the side characters, I guess I like him the least, but I
yeah.
don't dislike
He's the
him.
most abrasive. Yeah, he's the most abrasive. Like he was. So Agate was. He was kind of like a punk from. Oh, what's
Oh,
what's the city with?
the crows, right? Or not the crow? Is it
Yeah, he was the leader of the Crows
the Raven? Is it the Ravens or
or the
crows?
Ravens. Yeah, that's
The
yeah. I think.
Ravens.
Oh, yeah, I think it's the Ravens. And yeah, Cassius again, another guy like
Yeah, I think
Cassius
it's Ravens.
basically kind of knocked him into some sense in him or whatever. Like gave him a purpose, I guess. Like he became a bracer because of Cassius. Um,
Yeah.
I mean that's the other part of it too. Is like so many of the characters have like connections to the Bright family to begin with, and it's
Well,
always
yeah.
hilarious too because they'll talk like these characters will talk about how great Cassius is, and then
Estelle's like,
Estelle will
what?
be like, "Oh, Cassius is a loser."
Yeah.
My
You
dad
see his
sucks.
mustache?
Yeah,
Meanwhile, every other male character's like, I wish I could have that mustache.
yeah, yeah. Everybody fawns over Cassius, and she's like, "Oh, that lazy bum."
Yeah, it's so funny. And then, well, one of the characters here, Zin, who is, oh, where is he from? I know it's like the
He's
Eastern
Yeah, he's from
Kingdom,
Calvert.
Calvard. That's it.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so
So
he came in at the end here. I mean, I guess we met him earlier in the game, but it was real brief. And then, he comes a big player in the final chapter. And yeah, again, right, we learn that actually it was Cassius that asked him to sort of come join the tournament and sort of keep an eye out for the kids, right? Um,
yeah,
so again, like another sneaky sort of connection to Cassius. But the other two characters, right? You've got Chloe and Tita. Chloe is a student, and I guess with the spoiler I deducted that I guess obviously is talked about, right? So she's the princess, um, and right, like a big factor is that the queen wants her to succeed her, but um,
Not that useless Duke.
yeah, but the Colonel Richard, right, is like, nah, we should do the Duke because I could control him like a nice little puppet. And then they also hint at, right, like potentially not wanting two female, like queen or leaders in a row, or at least that might be how Colonel Richard feels, that he doesn't want two in a row. Um,
Yeah, just
so
like not like it's yeah. I think he's like it appears weak to the Erebonians or whatever. I guess is
and I guess generally, not always, but like maybe like she would be less likely to want to beef up the military opposed to like the Duke,
yeah.
who again the Duke's in his pocket, so clearly that's why he really wants the Duke.
Yeah,
But yeah, and then Tita, right? I don't know how old she is, but she's young. Is she like? I'm here, 12.
she's
But
like yeah, she's
she's
like
like a
12.
genius,
Yeah,
right? She's really really good with the orbital units and stuff because of her grandfather, Professor Russell, who right is a what a what a kook, right?
eccentric
Old
old. Yeah,
crazy
he's a
kid,
kook. Yeah,
right?
he
But
reminds me of like Doc Brown from like Back to the Future.
yeah, little scatterbrain, but like clearly a genius.
Yeah,
But she's such a sweet little girl, right? Like she's like just wants to help her grandpa, but she's also a genius. And then I love using her like her big craft move, where it's like just whips out this giant gun, like
yeah,
orbital gun, and just blasts. And it's so funny being like, it's just like a very small girl with like this big old gun.
yeah. Well, Tita's great too because she's actually throughout most of the Trails games. Like she's a one of the central characters in like the Cold Steel,
Oh,
like
sweet.
3 and 4. Yeah, so and she's older at that point.
Yeah, I was gonna say,
Uh,
yeah, she's not a girl anymore or a baby.
no, yeah, she's probably like what Estelle and Joshua are now. Like I think she's
Actually,
16.
it's so funny. I've got a Trails series timeline graphic up,
Oh yeah,
and you're spot on. Trails
yeah,
in the Sky would be year 1202, and Cold Steel is 1206. So yeah,
yeah.
2016.
Sometimes my brain doesn't work all the time, but sometimes the sometimes I get those weird details right. But
He wasn't
yeah,
counting down the days or anything. Don't worry.
no, no.
I'm just kidding.
But there's like even on top of like the main characters that you're adding to your party and stuff, there's even like funny side characters. Like the if you're doing the side quests, like one of the first side quests in Roland is this traveling like chef, I guess, Orvid, who's he's looking for like weird ingredients and stuff, and he convinces Joshua and Estelle to look for this mushroom. And I love like they come like there's a monster or whatever that they have to defeat to get the mushroom, and Estelle comes back and starts chewing them out for
Sending us in.
sending them out. They're like we're kids, like, and you're sending us out to for this like disgusting mushroom,
And
and
he
he's
knew
like
too,
whatever.
dirty dog.
Yeah, he do. But he keeps showing up in the other regions, so it's like hilarious, and
His
it
quest to
keeps
become a great chef, right?
yeah
Running parallel to us trying to save liberal.
yeah, and so yeah, like there was I know in chapter I think it's chapter 2 or act 2, sorry, you have to escort him like his niece, I guess it is like, oh, my uncle, he's going out into the wilderness to get this thing, and he needs some help, and Estelle and Joshua go out to try to find this guy, and they're like, it's you.
Yeah, you dirty dog.
Yeah, yeah. So it's and but then even then, like at the end, like in the last quest with that guy, they kind of make up, like, where the guy's like, okay, I get what you're trying to tell me, like I need to be a better person, sort of thing. Like I just love how, by the time Joshua and Estelle have like finished their interactions with people, like there's this kind of positive, conclusion where it's like they something good comes out of every interaction. Like
They
it's
leave
just
a wake of goodness behind them.
yeah, like it's just there's so many games where, especially these days, where it's like how many dark and gritty games are there where the heroes have to go through hell and back to defeat the villain who's like decimated like
Yeah, the
everything or
world is on the
something. Yeah,
brink of destruction. Yeah,
yeah, and then like that's the and you finally beat the villain, and hopefully the world
yeah,
repairs itself
bounces
or
back.
heals itself or whatever. And this game is like, no, like it's we're all trying to do our best, and even when things don't go right, there's still like a positive attitude throughout the whole thing. Like it's just such a different vibe of video game.
Yeah, it's definitely a feel good game, like for sure. No,
Yeah,
I definitely agree with that, and I think that's definitely part of the charm of wanting to just keep coming back, to sort of interact with the world and see what's up. But and obviously we're talking more story stuff, but yeah, it also can't be sort of understated that how great the gameplay feels. Like the systems, um, with the courts and like changing out the different courts in there so you can unlock new abilities and sort of it like, hey, you could sort of spread out your different elements here, right? And sort of have a well tailored kit, or you could be like, man, I'm going to sort of really invest into one element, and then that opens up some really powerful, albeit costly, right? Skills. Some of the big boy skills cost a lot of mana, more or less, whatever the equivalent is, EP. But
yeah.
but yeah, I like I said, I'm definitely really excited for to wrap it up and then also get into the second one. But I do think it is sort of for me, um, like I'm enjoying it enough that it will definitely have me, I should say, branching out into the other sort of arcs. Right? Because I do have Trails from Zero. So that is a game I could realistically get right into afterwards. Although I'm seeing that now. A quick aside: do you like? Would you play it like, oh, this is the timeline within the game? That's how you should play it.
You don't have to, because uh like I would. So the first three games are the Crossbell arc. So Crossbell,
That
did I just
is that Trails. No,
No, the
Trails in the
liberal arc.
Sky is
So I
liberal
I
art,
screwed
right?
that up. The liberal arc is the first three games. Trails in the Sky, Trails in the Sky second chapter, and then Trails in the Sky third. So those are all like, they're not, the first two are very focused on Joshua and Estelle, and then the third game is kind of a weird game where it's like focused on this other character that's introduced in the second game. But he's the main protagonist of the third game, and then Joshua and Estelle event like
Yeah, they're
they
there.
show up there, but they're not like the main character or whatever. And then the that Crossbell is the second arc, and that so the first game of that arc is Trails from Zero, which is the one you have, and then there's a second game for that one called Trails to Azure. So that arc is like a 2 game arc, but it's very separate from uh, the liberal ones. Like they're like Joshua and Estelle appear there, but they're really minor, like
Yeah,
not there
like
for very long.
cameos.
Cameos, yeah, it's mostly a cameo. And yes, this is taking place after the events that happened in Liberal, but they don't, like, you don't
They
need to
don't
know.
correspond. Yeah,
Yeah, like you don't need to know what happened to enjoy it, because it's like a completely different story. Like it all takes, like, Lloyd Bannings is the main character, and it all has like a very, there's obviously lore things, like you'll see characters that were in the first one that are in this one, but yeah, you really don't need to. And I would even argue like the third arc, which is 4 games, the Cold Steel arc, which is basically it's all in Erebonia for the most part. Uh,
boo. Oh,
yeah,
sorry.
yeah. So it's following a group in Erebonia, and there's a lot more. I would say you probably want to play the Crossbell games the before the Cold Steel ones, because they do they're technically the Crossbell games I think start before the Erebonia ones, but there is some overlap.
Yeah, this graphic shows so yeah, Trails first 3 in the Trails in the Sky, excuse me. Then Trails from Zero is 1204, year 1204. Then it says yeah, like years 1204 to 1205 is Cold Steel 1 and 2 and Trails of Azure.
Yeah, because
Azure.
there's there's a specific thing that happens in the Crossbell arc that it gets resolved, but then when you start playing the Cold Steel series,
It's not
uh,
resolved yet.
well, you actually do that event again, but from the perspective of the Erebonians.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah,
Okay, yeah, so like that wouldn't hit. Although I guess if you reversed it, it would still probably be like, "Oh, look, I'm playing from the opposite side." But yeah, that
yeah.
I like that. That's cool.
Well, I actually started with the Cold Steel game,
Did
so
you?
it was yeah. So at the time, like I had no idea what was going on. So when I played the Crossbell arc after the Cold Steel one,
You're
I'm
like,
like, oh, there's that.
"Whoa!"
Yeah, I'm like, oh, here's what led up to this thing that happened in this other game. Um, so it's kind of weird, and there was even a few things that happened in Cold Steel that when I played Trails in the Sky, I was like, oh, I see where they got this and this from. So it was different to do it in the wrong order, um, but yeah, I wouldn't necessarily say because we're not sure when Chapter 2 is coming out. I guess it's going to be before September of next year.
Yeah,
Is
it's. I mean, I could see them just sort of like, "Hey, 1 year apart, boom," and then
Yeah,
hey, like we'll put a sale on the first one here. But I
yeah,
hope it's earlier.
yeah. I hope so too. But well, the only thing is that because now we're into the fourth. How many? Yeah, we're in the fourth arc, the third game of the fourth arc, which is like game 13 or 14 at this point. Uh, that one's releasing. It's either January or February. So
What arc's
I'm.
that?
This is what's it called now? It's well, I guess it would be the Calvert arc because it's
Oh,
we're
where Zin's from?
yeah. So like Zin is in this arc because he's back in Calvert
Dude,
at this
Zin's
point.
such a. Ugh, well, screw it. He's a badass.
Yeah,
No,
yeah.
we
He's
don't. He doesn't get the censor.
no. This no. He's too much of a good character to be censored with the
What a
chocobo.
yeah, it's just so funny what a monster he is, like standing next to everyone else. Like, oh wow.
Yeah. I just love too that there's like about so many people that are just not afraid to be like, man, that guy's a bear.
Yeah, like yeah,
Like
everyone
right to
like,
his face.
hey, did you realize you're a mountain of a man?
Yeah.
Thanks, dude.
Yeah. Yeah, there's funny oh, so I guess you would have seen when he pretended to be drunk.
Oh yep, yeah, we
Yeah.
saw that. Yeah, he came back. Well, it's funny too, right? Like that was like Charizard or Shara. She's
Yeah.
known, right, for just being able to drink anyone under the table. So it's always funny when you hear like her and Olivier's uh, escapades or whatever. They're out drinking and he's always coming back worse for wears
Yeah.
and no one could hang with her. Although
Yeah.
Zid, I bet you he could just based off body size alone.
Yeah. Well, um there is one character that can drink Shara under the table. And it's Ina. It's the so in Roland, the person that worked at
Oh,
the bracer.
the guild, yeah.
Yeah, I can't remember if they explain why she's able to hold so much alcohol, but like she's like known as like the person
The
in
champ.
Samuria that like no one drinks with Ina. Like it's just like you're toast. Like even
I thought you were
Shara's
just gonna
afraid of
tell
her.
me it was Cassius. Not
Yeah,
only is it
no,
perfect, he can drink and not feel anything.
no, it's Ina can drink everybody under the table. There's a funny scene in Trails of Cold Steel 4 where it's Trails of Cold Steel 4 is kind of a funny game because it's almost like the what's the big Marvel thing that they all get together. I'm trying to remember the
Oh
movie's
yeah,
name now.
Endgame, right?
Yeah, it's very like Endgame where it's like all these characters from like the previous 12 games all
All
meet
like
for this
show
one
up.
event. But
Oh, that's
but
epic.
before the
Yeah.
big battle, they all get tanked. Yeah. And it's
Totally some
hilarious
fanfare.
seeing like yeah, oh yeah. So you see like Shara in a drinking contest with all these people, like an Aina and stuff. It's just
Just
hilarious.
knocking everyone down. We got to get
And
her in the
the
Tifa
thing,
competition down at
yeah.
Costa del Sol.
Yeah. Well, that's the other funny thing too is it all takes place on a beach. This drinking competition. It was so funny too because I'm thinking like, you're about to go out into this battle for the fate of the world, and you're all going to be hung over as
Getting
all
hammered up.
hell. Yeah,
I guess if you're gonna die, you might as well have had a decent night the night before, you know.
I guess so. Let off a little steam before the big stressful battle, I guess.
I feel like you'd
But
want, like, if you were going into a big old battle like that, it'd probably be definitely not drunk, you know, but maybe a beer or two to loosen you up might actually be a good thing.
yeah, yeah, I'm sure a couple would be all right. Not as much as they were drinking that in this scene, but it's kind of like in golf where I don't know how anybody can play golf without having a few beforehand. Like
Loosens up the swing, baby.
that's right. You can't. You got to play loosey goosey. There's no. I don't know if I've played a sober golf game in my life, but
It's like what Chubbs always said, you know? You got to have those loose
it's all
hips.
in the hips. So yeah, I guess I mean I'm glad that Trails in the Sky is giving you a good impression of the series, and that it seems to. It sounds like you're excited about other games in the series based on this game.
Yeah, I remember playing, honestly, it probably wasn't a ton of Trails from Zero, but I like the idea of like what a bracer is, and the idea like there's a bracer guild and we go out and do these things, and I right Trails from Zero is sort of, if I remember correctly, it's like you're not really a bracer, right? Like you're like a special cop that's
Yeah,
essentially a bracer, but like under like a police department of some sort.
yeah, it's funny because so they're called the SSS, and it's this. I'm not gonna special support services or something to that effect, but it's basically the whole premise of that game is that the police aren't necessarily liked in Crossbell, and so they create this new division, which is essentially they want to have their own bracer. Like
Like
there are
in house,
bracers,
yeah.
yeah, they want in-house bracers. So that's the whole point, but of
It's a
why.
PR stunt.
Well, that some of the cops say that they say it's just a PR thing. Like you're not real cops, you're just being, you're just glorified Boy Scouts or whatever.
Yeah.
So they have like this small team of cops that work out of this one building, and it's they're just basically the bracers with badges.
Yeah.
Um,
So I remember playing like that and enjoying, like I said, I like the structure, but I was maybe I don't know if there was other games, or if it was something along the lines of like, oh well, I just don't want to do a bunch of side quests.
yeah,
Where now that I sort of understand that more, I think I would be more open and excited to do that kind of stuff, you know? Um, so yeah, I don't know. I guess it'll depend how the new year shakes out with games and stuff. If maybe I'll jump back into Trails from Zero before the second chapter comes out, or if maybe wait till second chapter comes out and then get into Zero later down the year. You know, again,
yeah.
we'll see how it all pans out. But yeah, no, definitely. Yeah, it's definitely got me more interested in playing more of these games. It's just just daunting since there's so many of them, um,
Yeah.
but I do like that they're sort of broken into different arcs, so it feels a little more manageable, right? Like obviously, Cold Steel still has 4 games in it, which is a lot, uh,
Well,
but
and the
like
Cold
two
Steel
games
games
sounds
get
better.
crazy like in the length. Like these ones, the first two usually around 40-50 hours each game. But then when you get into the crossbell, that's when you start getting up into the 70s, 80s, 90s.
Ooh.
So that's like you
That's
got
when
like
they really started to cook, huh?
yeah, so like if you're looking to play like the Cold Steel arc, that's you're getting
Clear out
prepared
your
for
yearly calendar.
300 hours for fun. Just in those 4 games.
But it sounds awesome. Like, I mean, in one regard, that sounds terrible, but like in the other
Yeah.
regard, it's like, well, it's going to be like 300 real good hours of gameplay or gaming, you know?
Yeah. Well, and a lot of those games you can get for pretty cheap now when like they're
Oh
always on
yeah,
sale. Yeah. Like I think I bought uh, there's no way that you could do it now. But I remember when I got into it a few years ago, I went on Amazon and they had the Steelbook collector's editions. I got them for like 20 a piece
Ooh wee.
for Cold Steel 1 and 2. I'm actually looking at the Steelbooks now. Like they're nice, you know.
Well, I think I've seen right Trails games historically resell pretty well, like physical copies.
Yeah.
Maybe that was just someone. Uh, but yeah, I mean, eh.
Well, it was like at that point it was I think the third Cold Steel had come out at that point, and I was like, oh, I want to play the first two now, and so it wasn't like I still think it was kind of niche at that point. Like 3 and 4 is when it came out on Switch. That's when I think
Started
a lot of
popping.
people were starting to pay more attention to it, and then it's just like the momentum for the series or the franchise is just like it just grows every time a new game comes out. And now that I think the other big thing is that like when the games were coming out, like it would come out in Japan and then you'd have to wait like 2 or 3 years for the translation.
Mm.
And like Zero and Azure technically weren't like they came out like 10, 15 years ago, something like that. And they were never translated. Like I
Oh wow.
remember, so I had to download at the time there was there's a fan translation for each game, but you had to download like the PC version of the game from like a Chinese website, and then you had to apply the translations patch. And I remember,
Jumping
like
through
you,
all sorts of hoops.
oh yeah, like there was like the step by step, like when you get to the website, you're not gonna be able to read anything unless you speak Chinese. But click here, put your credit card in here, and then click here. And I'm like, oh my god, like
Humana, humana, humana.
I've I've got Visa on speed dial here if something goes wrong. But yeah, got it all done, and then I think like 3 months later, Falcom just bought the fans translations from the folks that did it, because there was like a group called Geofront that was doing the translation. So they're like, so they just hired them to do the translations, and now we're getting them much quicker. Like it's 6 to I think it's like 9 to 12 months after the Japanese version comes out that we're getting the English versions now. So that's
Yeah,
really helping with like keeping the
the
momentum for the
momentum
series.
going.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's one of those things you read online forums and stuff talking about like best series, best games, and like specifically on Japanese RPGs, but like everyone is like Trails in the Sky, trail, and like you said, it felt like there was a good amount of people saying that, but now I feel like anytime there's like a thread like that, there's always people talking about Trails in the Sky and how good it is. So, um, and like you said with the demo, I mean, obviously, if you're listening to this and you're still listening to this, you've played the game and don't need to be told about the demo. But it is awesome that they do have that demo. Like you said, it's not like a BS 30-minute like it's a nice juicy chunk, to where it's like you're gonna know if you like the game or not.
Yeah. Oh yeah, you're getting a good taste of it. So it's like if you play those 6 hours and you're down for it, it's like, well, get ready because that's another 30 to 40 of the same quality,
More
or
goodness.
even
Well,
like just
even
better.
better.
Just ramps up as the game goes on. Like
I
it's
would
and
say, yeah, that's like perfect for it. It ramps up. Like it doesn't
yeah,
start bad by any stretch. Like it's a great game. You'll like it, but like it definitely ramps up to just, and it's like a slow ramp, and then like wow,
yeah,
like okay, there's a lot going on here with the
yeah.
story, and like this is getting exciting.
And doesn't overstay its welcome. Like by the time the game's done, like you felt like you're like, yeah, that was the right amount of time. And they fixed the boss fight, so it's not ridiculous anymore. Like it's very manageable now. Like in the original game, I think I had to fight the boss like 12 times before I finally beat him, and
Holy moly,
it was only with like one specific. I had to look up like how am I
specific
supposed to beat
build.
this guy, and it's like yeah, they're very specifically had to
You
build
need
it in a
this
certain
piece of
way.
equipment. You need to put the stats here. Yeah, it's like oh yeah.
Yeah, just mostly the quartz because like there's no job class system per se. Like everybody's just what they are. But with the quartz, like you said, depending on which quartz you're going with, like you're getting different attacks. Like if you're going all in on like fire quartz, then you have all these offensive buffs that you're being put on. Or if you're going with like water quartz, then like you would want all your water quartz on a healer, and the earth quartz is for I guess like a lot of protection spells you get from that and stuff. So, but it's yeah, like they did a really good job on having the system show you like, well, if you switch this quartz with this quartz, these are the new abilities you'll get, or the abilities you'll lose by switching a quartz and that sort of stuff. And so
Yeah.
it's
Oh, it's so
very
nice that they show you that like on the
yeah.
fly.
Yeah, so you're not just wasting your time like clicking around like, oh, how does this work or whatever. Like it's very intuitive and
Yeah,
a
and they
lot
even
more
show you. I
manageable.
think they have like a legend that shows you all of the moves for each type, so you can sort of see what
Yeah.
you're working towards.
Yep. So yeah, it's really happy that Trails in the Sky is getting a lot of buzz, a
It's
lot
getting
of
its
the attention that
flowers.
it yeah, it's finally getting the attention it deserves. It's a little weird seeing all the
David could
it's
finally
becoming so
stop
popular.
shouting into the ether.
Yeah. Yeah, I can just sit back and relax and watch. Pass the baton on to others to tout how great it is.
My job is done here.
Yeah, that's how it feels. But yeah, I guess we'll probably wrap it up there. And this won't be the last Trails episode. I'm sure we'll
We're gonna be talking
patiently
about the
wait.
second chapter next year at some point,
Yeah,
guaranteed.
some point before September, if Falcom's not feeding his bull.
Yeah, yeah, within the next 10 months.
Yeah. And I'm sure I'll end up playing that third Calvert game too in January or February when it comes out. So
I'd be willing to bet my house on it.
yeah, so cool. Well, I'm happy that you've gotten into this series, and that folks around the globe are as well. It'll help keep these games rolling. I'm sure keeping Falcom in business.
They really are like, and it's funny, like for this game, right? I haven't played any of the other ones really, but like I feel like it's just a great art style. It matches, like you said, sort of the vibe, like the upbeat vibe of the game. Like the voice acting's really well done. Like Perry and I were talking about, like imagine a Pokemon game was like this.
Yeah.
Like people would be like, "This is the best Pokemon game of all time."
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I think like I love this style, and yeah, definitely a very good game that's worth playing.
Yep. But I guess we'll sign off here. Yeah, so I said that if if you want to talk more about Trails, you can head on over to thethirstymage.com and you can join our Discord channel. We're always talking about RPGs there. Great group of positive people, it's just like being in Roland around the
Yeah,
pub, having some fun chats about Trails and Final Fantasy, and SMT is going to be the year of SMT going into
mm.
2026. So
Yep,
yeah,
all the
if you
good
want to,
ones. We talk about all the good ones.
yeah, exactly. So, but I guess until then, we'll thank everyone for listening, and we'll see everyone out at the next Thirsty Mage. Bye for now.
Adios.